Red and blue lights flashed in my mirror, but they weren't mine. A white SUV with a bargain light bar and Oak Haven Estates Compliance Division decals was tailing me down Highway 17, sirens wailing like it actually had authority. Then I saw the driver, Kane Walker, the same guy I'd helped fire years ago when he was a crooked deputy. Now he was trying to pull me over on a public highway pretending to be law enforcement. I eased onto the shoulder, checked my speed, 54 in a 55. Seatbelt on. Nothing wrong. But Kane swaggered out, hand resting on his taser, that smug grin spreading under his knockoff vest. "Sergeant Francis," he said, like he'd been waiting for this. "Vehicle violation. You're in breach of Oak Haven Bylaw 277B. He pointed to a mud speck on my license sticker. I almost laughed. "Highway 17 isn't your playground, Kane. This is a state road." He leaned closer, voice low. "We've got a new partnership with the county. I can enforce community standards anywhere residents drive." Behind him, some nervous kid with a clipboard held up a boot, bright yellow. Kane smirked. "We're immobilizing it." I took a slow sip of my coffee. "Go ahead. But cite me the statute first." He blinked. "Community Partnership Resolution, not law." I cut in. Tri-state code. Unauthorized immobilization on a state-maintained right-of-way. Misdemeanor. He didn't like that. His eyes went cold. "You've always had a big mouth, Francis. Hard to pick your kid up from school without a truck." That hit hard. He knew my son's name, Leo. It wasn't just harassment, it was personal. The boot clanked shut against my wheel. The sound felt like a punch in the gut. But I stayed calm, recorded everything. Took photos, boot plate, their SUV mile marker. I called Anna, my lawyer, and the only person I trusted. "They've crossed the line," I said. She just answered, "Then let's bury them with evidence." That night, Oak Haven's petty war went nuclear. Around 10 p.m., a blinding spotlight filled our living room. Out front, same SUV engine idling beam trained on our house. Then came the drone. It hovered over our yard, its camera pointed straight through our kitchen window. It felt like we were living inside a fishbowl. I wanted to march out there, badge in hand, end it the old-fashioned way. But Anna stopped me. "That's what they want," she said. "They're baiting you." So we shut the blinds, sat in the dark, and waited. The silence buzzed louder than the drone. Our neighbor Finley peeked over the fence. Old guy, retired accountant, backbone of steel. "Evening, James," he said. "You know they've been shining that light on me too, thinking of watering their drone, see if it's waterproof." I actually smiled. "Don't," I said. "They're waiting for a reaction." That night I made a decision. If they wanted a fight, they'd get one, but I'd choose the battlefield. Anna dug through public records while I planned a visit to Rizzo's, towing the company behind all these enforcements. I went in disguise, ripped jeans, ball cap, burner phone. Pretended I was looking for a Civic side mirror. Inside, Rizzo looked exactly how I'd pictured him, greasy, mean crossword open on his desk. Behind him hung a clipboard titled Oak Haven Active Tows. Rows of license plates, dates, fake violations. It was the jackpot. While he turned his back, I snapped photo after photo through the dirty glass. Blurry, but good enough. Proof. That night, Anna connected the dots. Karen Duke, our HOA president, sat on the board of Dwyer's real estate firm. Dwyer was the same councilman who authorized their fake policing power. Rizzo's company-exclusive towing contract. They booted us, towed us, fined us, and funneled the cash in circles. It was an entire ecosystem of extortion. But evidence wasn't enough. We needed them to make one big mistake. I didn't have to wait long. 2 nights later, the dog growled. I peeked outside, Kane, dressed in black, creeping toward my truck. He picked the lock, slipped inside, stayed low. I hit record. When he crawled out, he looked around once, then disappeared. I waited, then checked. Under the passenger seat, a tiny bag of white powder. They were framing me. I didn't touch it. Just grabbed the footage from my hidden cameras, front and rear, full HD. Kane's face, his hand the bag. I showed Anna. She just whispered, "Oh, you beautiful bastard," to the truck. The next morning, I took the video to the sheriff's office. My old trainee Deputy Morales looked stunned watching it. "This is a felony," he said quietly. "Planting evidence." "I know," I said. "So we charge him." But then his voice changed formal stiff. "Sergeant, jurisdiction's complicated. The initial incident involves an HOA, technically civil." I stared at him. "Civil, he broke into my truck and planted drugs." He avoided my eyes. "We've been told to defer to Oak Haven's internal grievance process." That was the moment my faith cracked. I walked out of that building feeling hollow. If even the badge couldn't protect me, what could? For a few hours, I honestly thought about giving up. Selling the house, getting Leo out, leaving Oak Haven behind. Maybe I was the fool still believing the system would fix itself. But then a text came in from an unknown number. "Sweep at 8 a.m. Single entry. Oak Street. Other gates chained. Be ready." It was Morales. He hadn't betrayed me. He was warning me. The next morning, Karen's grand community compliance sweep kicked off. Tow trucks lined up like vultures. Kane barking orders, a spike strip gleaming in the sun. They were setting a trap to catch anyone who resisted. I parked 100 yards away, watching. My truck was bait again, cameras rolling. Finley waited nearby with a leaf blower. Yeah, a leaf blower. It would make sense soon. At 7:59, Kane waved his men forward. They started dragging the spike strip across the road. That was my cue. I floored it. The F-150 roared down the lane, loud, deliberate, but not reckless. Kane's face twisted from confusion to rage. "Get it down! Get it down now!" he yelled. I hit the brakes hard, stopped inches from the spikes. Jumped out, grabbed the metal pole I'd brought from home, a manhole hook, and yanked the edge of the strip. Now, Finley. The leaf blower screamed to life, deafening. Kane's goons flinched. I heaved the strip, flipping it under the first tow truck's tires. Hissed 2 flats instantly. The truck veered sideways, slammed into Kane's SUV. Another tow truck plowed right into the back. The perfect pileup. Kane froze, stunned. Then his anger found a target, Finley. The old man was still clutching his blower like a trophy. Kane stormed toward him, veins bulging. "You think this is funny, old man? You're obstructing a sanctioned action," Finley, cool as ever, said. "Just doing some yard work, officer." That did it. Kane shoved him hard. Finley stumbled, fell flat. The crowd gasped. Something in me snapped. I stepped between them. "You just assaulted my neighbor." Kane sneered. He tripped. "Move before I arrest you for interference." He reached out to push me too. Big mistake. I deflected his arm and hit him clean, a short controlled right to the jaw. He crumpled like a puppet with cut strings. Out cold. The crowd went silent, then broke into applause. Finley clapped first, grinning through the dust. For the first time, Oak Haven wasn't afraid. By evening, Karen was in full panic mode. She called an emergency HOA meeting to condemn the violence. I showed up. So did everyone else. The room was packed, neighbors Councilman Dwyer, even a bruised Kane. Behind them hung a big projector screen ready for Karen's self-righteous speech. She started strong. "We will not be intimidated by thugs who refuse to follow community standards," she declared. Right on cue, Anna, sitting in the back, tapped her phone. The screen flickered. Up popped an email, Karen to Dwyer. "Keep the language vague. Give my team teeth and your little loan issue disappears." Gasps. Dwyer went pale. Karen stammered, This is taken out of context," but Anna swiped again. The next slide, photos from Rizzo's office. Tow logs, names, dates. Half the room saw their cars listed. Shouts erupted. "That's my van. You said it was abandoned." Karen banged the lectern. "This is unauthorized." I stepped forward. "Oh, this is just the warm-up." The video rolled. Night vision footage from my truck. Kane breaking in, slipping the baggie under the seat. Perfect clarity. The room fell dead silent. I unclipped the small body cam from my shirt. For the record, I said, voice steady. "This entire meeting is being live-streamed to the State Attorney General's office. They've been outside all afternoon waiting for probable cause. And then we heard it, the distant wail of sirens. Not one, but many. The doors burst open. Morales led the team. "Karen Duke," he said, "you're under arrest for conspiracy fraud and extortion." She tried to speak, but the cuffs clicked shut first. Dwyer followed, muttering about his rights. Rizzo was picked up at his office. Kane just stared at the floor jaw, swollen, beaten not by force, but by proof. The crowd watched as their so-called rulers were marched out past the HOA sign. The same one that had stood for control now looked small, pathetic. When the sirens faded, I finally exhaled. The house lights came on soft and warm, like the neighborhood was breathing again. But I didn't smile. I'd learned something the hard way. Power only hides in darkness. Turn on the lights and bullies shrink to their true size.